Hi everyone and welcome back to this week's edition of JDP's Questions, Wings and Things. This week we have John Bristowe from the mighty Octopus Deploy. 5 questions, 5 wings. Let's get started. John Bristowe, welcome to JDP's Questions, Wings and Things in the HQ. Thank you for making it.
Thanks for having me.
That's appreciated. We're just having a bit of a chat in here about the fact your native country, Canada.
Yeah.
Quite a few Canadians over here as well, Canadian friends, etc.
We're among you, don't worry about it. It's all good.
And the ice hockey contingent as well.
Yeah, there's a few of us that play around here. I mean, it's hard to find ice in Queensland, but we luck out from time to time.
I like it. Right, I'm going to get on with this one for you as well. So I know you've only been with Octopus Deploy a little while now, a little under a year. What have you driven for the business and what have you achieved within the business to date?
My main role is to look after developer relations. Okay. So I do a lot of outbound sort of marketing with developers.
Yes.
And so we talk to them about our product, we talk to them about why you want to use it. A lot of developers who use our product do so because they have a need for deploying software, and that's what we do. That's our bread and butter. There's a lot of solutions out there that do a lot more than we do, but what we do really, really well. And so that's kind of what we focus on. As far as what we've achieved this year, we've had some great releases. We've grown as a company. Obviously with COVID, things have been kind of weird, but you know, we've been trying our best to adapt to that, just like everyone else. And yeah, it's been a good year. It's been a lot of fun.
I won't go any heavier than that.
Goodness.
Okay, so
I'm crying here.
Second question for you. Octopus Deploy seem relatively R&D heavy. In your opinion, is it too R&D heavy? And if so, how would you adjust that workforce to get optimal output?
Well, the thing you have to remember is that with software, sometimes you tackle a lot of problems that no one has ever addressed before. And so there's a lot of stuff that has to go on in terms of that R&D.
Yeah.
And the space that we're in, which is kind of like the DevOps space, there's a lot of new ideas that are coming to bear all the time. And the industry itself is trying to figure this stuff out. So yeah, there's a lot of R&D that goes on, and a lot of it's trial and error, and sometimes you get things right and sometimes you don't. And it's not about throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks, but it's also—
I'm glad you said that, yeah.
Yeah, it's about kind of talking to customers and making sure, like, I know this sounds like a sales pitch, but it's true. You have to talk to customers, you have to figure out what they need, and then move forward from there. Yeah, and iterate, lots of iteration. It's starting to get a little bit concerning because the sauces are getting thicker. And you know it's bad when they get thick because there's like, you know, you can tell there's lots of spice in here. And yeah, I'm not looking forward to this one, that's for sure.
Here's from a more staff retention perspective. What is the retention strategy, if applicable, for the business, and how do you guys tend to retain the good people that you want to remain with that IP and that IP growth within the business?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things you want to do when you're working at a company is you want to make sure that the people feel like they have a good career path. As far as retention is concerned, I think we value, obviously, people's growth, and that could even go in a lateral direction as well. So we have a lot of engineers. We're very engineering centric at Octopus. So like over 50% is engineering. And that's natural because we develop obviously a product for developers. But yeah, I think you know, it's just a strategy of making sure that you're communicating with your employees and making sure that they have a growth strategy for themselves personal. That's the thing that I always try and target with the people who I work with is I ask them, you know, where are your strengths? And I try and amplify that. I don't worry about people's weaknesses too much. I just say, you know, if you're a good writer, I want you to write. If you're a good coder, I want you to code. And let's not worry too much about trying to be a jack of all trades. I'm doing like a Jackson Pollock painting here, so on the plate.
There could be a plethora of reasons behind this one, but why would a company or companies choose Octopus Deploy over one of the nearer competitors?
From a global perspective, as I said before, we don't do everything under the sun in terms of the target space we target. So, you know, it's kind of the best analogy I can probably say for people who haven't used our product is, you know, you've got tools like Office that do everything, right? You got Word that just, you know, edits everything, but there might be some facility in Word that isn't as great as you would like, that you could use a third-party program or something like that to do that. We're kind of following that same idea. And so we do it around software deploying, which is arguably one of the hardest things you do in software development is when you actually ship your software. People think, oh, it compiles, yay, ship it. Let's ship it over, throw it over the window, and it's great.
Fingers crossed.
Exactly, but oftentimes there's servers to configure, there's databases to migrate, there's all kinds of things that orchestration of things that occur, and you want that repeatable as well as being able to be very robust, and so that's what we do really well. And so it's hard because we're infrastructure, and no one finds infrastructure sexy, right? It's like if things are going well, you never hear anything. But as soon as something fails, it's like the phones never stop ringing. So
fingers pointing.
Exactly. Yeah. So we sell infrastructure for developers as part of that that deployment side of things. And so it's if you want that to be done and done well, then obviously we'd hope that you'd look at us.
Great answer. Your sweat has stopped a little bit now.
No, it's still going. It's like it's migrated down into other layers.
The inner sanctum somewhere.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Is this the death by sauce thing?
This is the one I think you should do your company proud and just right over the button on that one. Right over the bloody button.
I'm trying to move it around. So these folks watching, I'm not trying to get around this, but
I can see a couple of
I'm just trying
suspect
to
pieces.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying my best here, so all right.
So double-pronged question. What has been your biggest either career or life learning curve / lesson?
Oh my God. Well, having kids certainly teaches you a lot about yourself.
Yes, it does. I have seen myself.
Like, oh, that's what my parents were telling me back in the day about what I need to improve. No, it comes out in my children. Perfect. So I think having kids teaches you a lot.
Yeah.
I think to be successful in software, you have to constantly have that humble humility sort of oriented moment of,
Nice.
I don't know what this is, I gotta learn it. But I think you can do so by just dropping your ego and asking questions and going to things like user groups or forums or YouTube or find and educate yourself that way. So there's no excuse though. You should really have all the tools available to you online to learn this stuff. I mean, this is why you've seen online training explode through Pluralsight or Udemy or whatever it is.
Yep.
These courses are exploding for a reason because people are self-taught, teaching themselves.
Yes.
So,
perfect.
Yeah.
John Bristowe from Octopus Deploy. Thank you very much for making it in.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Mate, quick elbow bump there
Yeah,
as well.
that's
I think
right. There you go. Cheers.
We shall see you next week on JDP's Questions, Wings and Things. Take care and goodbye.